players would you take ahead of James Harden right now?
Really difficult for me to say. I would tell you that I would think about obviously LeBron because of his overall impact. Kevin Durant is who I consider to be the second best player in the world. I don't think you teach 6'11" with a 7'6" wingspan with that handle and that marksmanship. I definitely have to take that into consideration. I look at them. I look at a guy like Kawhi Leonard, but I'm getting to a point where I'm wondering whether or not he needs to be in this conversation because he's not healthy. Not to mention the fact that even though his gifts are not questionable, his level of aggression on the offensive side of the ball was an issue up until last season. And so that's the only reason I would say Kawhi Leonard is debatable. Anthony Davis, the Greek freak, people like that you look at and you can throw them in the conversation. But I really would only say definitively there are three. You can throw Steph Curry in there because he plays the point guard, and with his shooting ability and the fact that he has to run the show the way that he runs the show, you can make a legitimate argument about that because I think he's the greatest shooter that I've ever seen. But James Harden's pretty damn close. And I'd say that James Harden could be the top five. I'd say that he is the heir apparent to Kobe Bryant. He has officially taken over as the best two guard in basketball. He is my leading candidate for league MVP honors right now. He was my leading candidate last year until Russell Westbrook went ballistic the last 2 weeks of the regular season. James Harden is something special, man. And I would tell you that definitively there's 4 guys you take before him. He's arguably top 5, definitely top 6 because of his scoring prowess. And if you wanted to take him out of the top 6, it's only because you're bringing up his defense because he picks and chooses when he wants to play because he has to carry so much of an offensive load. But as an offensive player, I would tell you top 5. I just think that he's sensational. That's just where I'm at right now. But it's really difficult for me to say. I got to think about it some more, Max.
Here's my list. And I'm not going to include Kawhi Leonard because of injury. Otherwise, Kawhi would be ahead of James Harden.
Okay.
Number 1 is LeBron James. Number 2, without Kawhi, is Kevin Durant. Number 3 is Anthony Davis. Those are all 3, and if you included Kawhi, it'd be 4, players with size, two-way players with size, whose offense, all of their offense is at least as good as Harden, and their defense is a world apart. Now, when I say their offense is as good as Harden, Harden's offense is great. I love Harden's offense. But 2 things. D'Antoni's system helps him, not only because playing with a great offensive coach makes your offense better and allows you to be the full version of yourself, but also because the pace and style and usage in D'Antoni's system inflates numbers. And so Harden, as great offensively as he is, his numbers are a little bit inflated because he plays for D'Antoni. So the 3 guys that I mentioned, 4 if Kawhi, right? And then it comes down to, so is he in the top 5, James Harden? The Greek freak, I'm not going to put ahead of Harden yet, only because in spite of playing with other good players, he has not yet led his team to be a dominant team. So I'm not going to put him, although I suspect any day now the Greek freak will pass him. Steph Curry I am putting ahead of Harden, definitively, because Steph Curry, because of Kevin Durant and the way he's used, his greatness is now obscured a little bit, and Steph is a willing defender, which oftentimes James Harden is not. I want to say something about Harden, Stephen A. So I have Harden at best 5, maybe 6 if Kawhi's healthy, and the Greek freak will put him at 7 soon. Quickly, I'm a little suspicious of James Harden in the playoffs and ranking him higher than that, than I rank him, because of athletic ability. Now, I think that's one of the reasons he hasn't done well in the playoffs. Let me tell you what I mean. The one thing that Harden does in a superior way athletically to most of the other players is decelerate. He can stop on a dime, change direction, those sorts of things. But to me, that's the equivalent in baseball of having a great changeup, of changing speeds and hitting spots. And those kind of pitchers, because they don't have the blazing fastball or curveball or out pitch that you can't guess on, it's just too good for you. Those kind of pitchers don't do well in the postseason. For example, Trevor Hoffman was not Mariano Rivera. Greg Maddux was not Sandy Koufax. And James Harden isn't LeBron James. He's not the fastest. He doesn't jump the highest. He's not the best shooter, right? He's doing it on guile, intelligence, and his ability to change speeds. That does not play under pressure the way size, strength, speed does if similarly skilled. I have him at best 5th, at worst 7th.